You ready to take us into this, 12?
Oh, you know what? My bad. My computer froze. It was still on the countdown.
It was your show.
Man, no, look, my bad. My computer froze. It was still giving me a countdown to like 10. And I'm like, man, this countdown's going on forever. But look, here we are. It is Snakey Old Eyes, the legendary Nerd Around Table. We a few of us have seen Snake Eyes, one of us has seen Old, and there's some other shit going on out in the universe. Time to get into it. Snake Eyes, saw it, and I said to myself, wow, this could have been watched at home. Joining us today, of course, Tom is talking Cunningham in the building. What's up with you, brother?
I also saw Snake Eyes in a theater that was completely empty, other than the 5 people that I bought tickets for.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Dr. Liz from the Freeway. How you doing?
Hey, everybody. I saw Snake Eyes and I splurged and saw it on the
IMAX?
No, not IMAX,
Dolby?
the other one.
Dolby?
Prime? D-Box?
We're running out of options here.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, hey. we'll get there. Anthony from 2 Cubicles Down. What's up with you, brother?
I did not see Snake Eyes. I was looking to watch it at home and not pay for it, and they only had cam version online, so I decided to wait.
All right.
A man after my own heart.
Right. Ryan Twitch Master McBain, how you feeling?
I'm all right. Happy rent-free Wednesday, everybody. Yeah. I did not see Snake Eyes because the last 2 G.I. Joe films sucked, and I was going to see Old, but Tom told me that it's not worth seeing.
All right, we're going to get into that too. Hell, Mo Kelly, how you feeling, young man?
Yeah, I didn't see shit this week, but I did see Quiet Place 2, and to what Tom was saying, yeah, it's the same movie again with the same ending, and they don't advance the story at all. That was a waste of time. I'm glad I did not pay money to see that. And as to Anthony said, I found it online. I'm not ashamed, and I didn't have to pay for it. And I didn't see Old. I wanted to see Old, but you're saying it's booty, so I probably won't be seeing Old.
Old booty?
Wow.
Old booty.
Oh,
well, you know,
I mean, Snake Eyes.
Yeah,
like
I'm sure they all will.
Like Vanessa Del Rio, old booty.
Ooh,
wow.
You dug deep for Vanessa Del Rio.
Yeah, you
I
dug
did.
way deep.
Yeah. I'm partial to Nita DeFranco.
That's
deep.
Okay.
Those who know.
Look, hey.
Those who know.
Damn,
All right,
that's Atlantis deep.
Before we get too far down that path, Snake Eyes, while I will give it, it's G.I. Joe credit. It's a G.I. Joe movie. I tried my best not to take it too serious. I went in understanding it's within the Hasbro film universe. It is a reboot of the franchise, similar to how Bumblebee was a reboot for the Transformers franchise. And this film was very much the same. A lot of leaps and bounds when it comes to story, a lot of mystery that they tried to throw out of the window with the Snake Eyes character. Anyone who's even read the Snake Eyes origin story that was published a few years back, this is not that. Okay, this is a more serious look at a G.I. Joe film, if you could say that. I was expecting stellar martial arts. I got average film martial arts. I didn't. I don't know if I saw.
You got Iron Fist stuff?
No. What you got was martial darks.
Yeah. Oh my God. Can you see anything?
Every seat of this is what I'm saying. If you had tried to get the bootleg of this movie, you wouldn't have been able to see jack shite, because even on the big screen, a perfect example is a lot of the major fight set pieces were shot in a dark, lantern-lit forest with black-clad ninjas fighting black-clad Yakuza guys in suits. And what the hell do you think that looks like? You might see a
look,
sword every 3 seconds.
No, even the daytime fight scenes were shrouded with scenery that was in the way. A lot of things that was like, okay, can you move the truck out of the way so we can see them fighting? I don't know what they were hiding.
And here's the thing, you made a point, Tuala, about Black Widow, and Mo did, about the excellent fight choreography in Black Widow. This choreography was action filled, I guess, but it was close and the camera was shaky. And so that just made it even all the harder when you're looking at almost all Asian characters, almost all in black, except at the end set piece where the main chick from the Ashigura or whatever clan and the big brother, the inheritor of the thing, they had white suits, but that was it. So everybody else was in black.
Look, the film itself, as far as it being a relaunch of the G.I. Joe film franchise, it did that. It introduced you to a G.I. Joe covert organization that we don't actually see out there. We learned that they exist, and that's fine. We learned that Cobra exists on a larger scale and is a global terrorist organization. They're not this cartoony organization that you grew up watching. They're more of political espionage and eco-terrorism and just all the different terrors that are happening in the world. Somehow Cobra's behind them. That train that crashed and all those people that died, that was Cobra. This mass shooting over here, Cobra was really behind that to sway the news. Different things like that.
Cobra is Hydra.
I think
basically. Cobra is Hydra.
But clearly,
I thought they sold insurance.
Clearly,
Wait.
These clearly they wanted to hit the Asian market because absolutely. When I think of G.I. Joe, I would not think of this plot line. Like I said it when I first saw it. I saw the trailer and I was like, "Oh, this is G.I. Joe." I didn't. Okay, I'll go with it. I'll run with it. But clearly, they wanted to move to that point. And the only reason why I would watch it was because I like Andrew. I loved him in Warrior.
Yeah.
Was RZA
Which is surprising. It's surprising.
No.
Andrew Koji plays Snake Eyes.
I saw it in Dolby.
Andrew Koji has played Snake Eyes, and if you watch him in Warrior, he's a phenomenal martial arts. A lot of the individuals in there, Harry Golding is nice when it comes to his martial arts, and Iko, I hope I'm not pronouncing his last name, but Iko Uwais, who played Hard Master. If you've seen him in any of the hardcore martial arts films, he's bad. He's super ill. So when you think about all of these players on the same screen, I was expecting martial arts unlike anything I've ever seen. It's Snake Eyes, and you're supposed to be focusing on within G.I. Joe and their ranks. When you look at the back of those cards on the back of those action figures, it's like, hey, dude, Snake Eyes is a master of all armed and unarmed combat. You would have expected something like that, but this is a film where you have a guy who grew up hard luck. His father was killed. Oh, turns out his father was a member of G.I. Joe. Sure thing. That's what you want to go with. That's fine. But you have this guy who literally went to ninja camp for about a week and was ready to hang with the best of the best. And I'm like, that's not how it works.
Okay. I don't think that's completely fair. In the first scene, which was poorly paced, overlong, and dark as hell. It's young.
See, I saw it in Dolby. And I saw everything bright.
Yes.
No.
So maybe I spent the money correctly.
Well, all I'll say is that his daddy is killed in the first scene, which lasts like 10 minutes, and then we catch up with him as a grown-up who has some fighting skills. He's a dock guy, the fish guy, and he protects this important guy who brings him then immediately on this beautiful plane and starts him down the path. So he had some skills, but he doesn't have the full skill set of this clan that he's trying to get in. And that's the montage. That is the trite montage. You have 3 tests. And the first test is get this bull. And the second test is fireflies. And the third test is impossibly big snakes, like from the Chamber of Secrets, big ass snakes.
Giant anacondas. Giant anacondas.
You needed 3 to do the test, I guess. And my biggest challenge with this movie is that Henry Golding, who came to most people's attention in Crazy Rich Asians, he's this very handsome guy. And even though he's portrayed as kind of conflicted, he's a generally good guy. He's not a bad guy. He's not a hardened bad guy. And the central conceit of this movie is that he's willing to risk the domination of the world by a terrorist organization to get the one guy who killed his dad. So one guy, rest of the world. And one guy gets the alligator chop in that equation. One guy versus 8 billion, and you go with the one. And then you don't even, spoiler alert, you don't even kill the guy when you have a chance.
Yeah.
Well, no, but beyond that, that's, I mean, to me, that's old school kind of 80s writing. I mean, that's like if Larry Hama had a dominant hand in making this film, and you look at his hand in just everything we know about G.I. Joe, you know, all the most important, the most, you know, the seminal stories that came from G.I. Joe, all the card backings, all that stuff, that's Larry Hama. Mm-hmm. This film was definitely his dream come true, because he got to tell his G.I. Joe story the way he wanted to. But to me, it's a level of storytelling that lends to young thinking. It's not a level of storytelling that goes for those who look for things that make sense. Look for like, you can't do that. You know, you can't go into that kind of film with that,
because there's such choppiness. There's like, you're willing to risk your life for some dude you just met 2 seconds ago. Like, where
but they explained that because that was the setup.
I get that.
He was supposed to infiltrate. And so, spoiler alert, he wanted something. The guy wanted something, and then Baroness
the big brother,
Hydra Cobra.
Again, all of this has to do with Cobra. You know, it's Cobra and their master planning to get them in there.
Cohesive. The storyline's not cohesive. It jumps a bit.
But the storyline is G.I. Joe. I mean, when you think about some of the earliest episodes of G.I. Joe and them trying to, you know, travel the globe to find all the pieces for the mass dominator or whatever that first device was, which was great. You know, if you think about the fact that they travel the world to find all the ingredients of some of the greatest world conquerors to make Serpentor, G.I. Joe was a cartoon and a comic story that was based in just some absolute farcical bullshit. It really was.
If you have ever watched on Netflix The Toys That Made Us, about G.I. Joe, it was like, we make these whack toys, and we need to figure out. Snake Eyes was like, oh, let's just color it black, and now we have Snake Eyes. We made whack toys.
Yeah. Well, you gotta think about the G.I. Joe toys. It started with the dolls, the action dolls.
Yeah.
And so they're like, hey, we need to capitalize on this, so we're going to do what? Let's make a comic book. Let's capitalize on this. Let's make a cartoon. So I mean, they didn't have much to start with. They had a toy.
No, it was toys for boys. They wanted to get boys playing with things. So so you know, there is. I don't blame, and to their credit, they did not have some big, ridiculous, stupid master plan. There was this powerful thing, and Cobra wanted it, and the Baroness wanted it. And you could see how the powerful thing, once we see what the powerful thing can do, you could see how they could use it to advance their aims. So it wasn't like, you know, Die Another Day, where there was a solar satellite made out of diamonds that could reflect laser beams onto the Earth and melt South Korea. It was like you've got this laser jewel and it can burn stuff. And so if you have the laser jewel that can burn stuff, no army can stand against you. Fine, we're good. That's easy to understand. It was just, the pieces didn't hold together. And
no,
one thing
it's a tough film to hold together.
It is. Listen, so Scarlet, okay, so there's fan service. You get in this movie, you get 3 named G.I. Joe characters. You get the G.I. Joe logo in the top secret dossier of Snake Eyes' daddy. You see the G.I. Joe logo. But again, this is the last 45 seconds of the movie. And you get Scarlet, played by Samara Two Chiclets in My Mouth Weaving. Oh. And you get Storm Shadow at the end. That's a reveal of a flip. And you get Baroness and you get Snake Eyes. So you get 4 fan service characters. Samara Weaving as Scarlet is put into a scene just to show her kick ass. And walking out of the scene, she says, "I'll be in Tokyo as soon as I can." Then 48 hours pass, and she finally shows up, basically with no backup, to shoot, a damn crossbow.
Look,
it's like
it don't fit together.
Well, but the crossbow, that goes back to the action.
No, got it. No, I get it. I understand why they did it. I'm just saying, that's your backup. 48 hours later, you knew the Baroness was in town to get a world weapon of mass destruction, and you couldn't tear away from your bathroom fight to come and support them right away.
No. Well, I mean, look at the Bumblebee film and the fact that you had, arguably the fate of the world on the planet, and you didn't see Optimus Prime until the last 5 seconds of the film. I'm sure Bumblebee could have used the help of Optimus Prime in that film, instead of him just hanging out across the bridge,
Right.
So it's like, for them, it's like they don't understand universe building. This is the problem with every company who wants to follow the MCU. But Hasbro, they do have an actual film universe. They're building with Transformers, G.I. Joe. They're going to add Mask. They're going to add Rom the Space Knight and one other property to it, either Visionaries or one other property to it. But all of these toy lines are supposedly connected now in the Hasbro universe, and they have said that they sat down in a writing room and they're all together and they're all working on this master plan to come together.
They say that, but
and Zack Snyder brought them sandwiches. It's lies,
right? Look,
I could see you blending Rom and Transformers because they're both alien species and shiny. I don't have a problem with that. I don't need Rom sprinkled into my G.I. Joe. I just don't. And
you're gonna have to have it though.
Well, maybe, but again, the DCEU promised a combined universe too, and what have we gotten? We've gotten nothing. So people can say a whole lot of shit.
But the Hasbro universe, when you think about how they're laying out this universe, if you start with Bumblebee and you have a direct connection with the military, and then you go into G.I. Joe and just establishing that G.I. Joe can possibly be that military agency that eventually is going to collide with Transformers. Then you bring in Mask. Mask is essentially reverse engineered Transformers. That is how Mask Mobile Armored Strike Command is established. They've re-engineered Transformers and put them into earthbound vehicles to fight a menace that we don't know about. And then you bring in Transformers and eventually humans and their mass changing vehicles, along with whatever, Autobots are there to help aren't enough. Boom, you got to bring in Rom the Space Knight to just bring in some extra, Romulan shit.
Round it off with Battleship. Just round it off with Battleship, and we'll just have all Hasbro going in there.
Might as well bring in GoBots.
There'll be some kids in the corner with the Ouija board trying to figure out the fate of the Earth, and we'll be good.
But by 2035, that movie will come out.
Maybe.
I'm gonna tell you the thing that I like, and has nothing to do with any of this. I like the fact that there's tension. There's this underlying tension between the outsider and the insider, and so the main character, who is completely American, this whole idea of being an American who don't speak the language, is coming in and is not as skilled as the Klan. That's the only thing that I was like, okay, this is cool. So we get to really see like Americanism. But other than that, I mean, this was just like.
Well, I mean that's the problem with this story is that when you look at the actual origin story of Snake Eyes, when you look at how Snake Eyes actually comes into the comic book or into the story period, it would have made a little more sense if you went with that story, because the original story of Snake Eyes is he's this, he's this white kid who was found, he was stealing bacon, whatever, and he was taken in as a child by the Arashikage clan and raised up with Storm Shadow, and Storm Shadow had evil in his heart. And at a point in time when they had their final super black belt test, Storm Shadow reveals his evil. Snake Eyes, as they called him, after he was scarred for life and mutilated, which is why he wore the mask, which is, I'm mad they didn't get into that, but okay, that's a whole nother thing. That's toy stuff, that's comic stuff. But them bringing in a guy who, he can do some pit fighting and some bare knuckle fighting, and he knew how to fighting and being the ninja. From everything we know about ninjutsu, it is an entirely different world. I don't care how many, to me, him going in and mastering these ninja skills within a 4 to 5 week period, I don't care. To me, that's the same as Danielson earning a black belt and going up against seasoned black belts in a competition. You can't do that. That to me is the failing of this story.
So he's Ray Palpatine then.
There are a couple things wrong with that. I mean, we saw this with Tom Cruise, Last Samurai. We've seen it even with Christian Bale in The Dark Knight. I mean, he went up on the mountain for a few months, and all of a sudden, he was better than anyone in the League of Shadows. But going back to your universe theory, Twala, I'm not buying that, if only because it presupposes that the movies are successes and propelled the next movie. Because like with the monster universe we were supposed to see, it had 1 or 2 bad movies, and that was the end of that. And in Snake Eyes is supposed to kick off this universe.
Look,
listen,
no,
I'd rather have Cobra Kai in the G.I. Joe universe than have any of that other stuff. Because frankly, Tom Cruise's The Mummy was supposed to kick off Werewolf and Frankenstein and vampires.
Oh, that was bad.
And the Mummy was horrible. And then you've got the King Kong Godzilla shared universe. They're 4 or 5 films in, and none of them have really caught fire. Like, fan service has kept people going, but none of them are like, oh, I've got to see this next King Kong film, or I've got to see this next Godzilla film. They're just not clamoring for it in the same way that the MCU's carefully plotted, intentional. And I'm not saying from day one it was as plotted as it turned out to be, but there was an intentionality and at least an overarching vision. And when the vision really came around Infinity Stones, you knew everything was laid out.
Right.
So the next 16 films, you knew Feige knew exactly what was going to happen. And it just hasn't happened with any of these other universes. James Bond is the closest thing to a universe, and there haven't been any real spinoffs that have worked other than James Bond just being a long-running franchise. And so I'm not convinced, like Mo, you can announce everything that you want to. You can announce the Super Nintendo universe. You can announce the Atari universe. All of these universes. You can announce Masters of the Universe. And it still doesn't mean there's going. Well, it doesn't mean that you're going to get what Marvel has, which is what everybody's chasing. They're chasing what Marvel has, and it's not happening anywhere.
Everybody's trying to play
catch up.
Masters of the Universe. Tawala, did you see it yet?
We'll get there. We'll get there in a second, Liz. We'll get there in a second. Let's finish.
Well, I thought we were done with this.
No. There is a point to that, and they're just, it could be the final point to Snake Eyes, but the Paramount Pictures is actually Snake Eyes. It came in at 13-14 million. I think it petered out at 16 million for its opening weekend. This film has really put a nail in the coffin, not just on the future of the franchise, as was reported by Variety, but also the potential for the next Star Trek film, which they were like, hey, maybe we don't need to go forward with making big budget pictures right now.
Just put it on their app.
Streaming may be the way to go. We may need to like start, tightening up some of these budgets and focus some of these films on the Paramount Plus, because they're saying that the Mark Wahlberg film, the Infinite film, actually by way of streaming and the numbers that they got of people going to the app was more profitable for them than Snake Eyes.
Wow,
that's tough.
Damn,
that's tough.
That's because that movie,
even with
that
the Asian
was
market,
hot garbage.
Even with the Asian market, yes.
That's
thank
sad.
you.
Well, listen. Star Trek Discovery is the best Star Trek, and that's on Paramount Plus. I have no problems if you want to go on ahead and trim some of these big casts and focus on some Spock, Kirk stories this episode, and focus on Bones this episode, and slam it out like that until you can get back into the big budget game two years from now, when people are actually not afraid of the Delta variant. Bad timing on that too. Wow. I mean, Louise, literally nobody wants to be in a theater again right now. And this is a pretty bad blow, but I didn't mind Snake Eyes. I could watch another movie in the franchise were it going to be made. I don't believe it will be made for the reasons that Twala basically just pointed out, but it wasn't horrible, and it certainly wasn't aluminum wrist. No. And
rent free.
No, you don't get to call rent free on Finn,
no.
Because nobody likes him.
I invented it. I brought it in. You stole my style. I'm saying rent free.
I first of all, I did aluminum wrist 2 years ago. So don't you don't get to lump that under your.
He's still up in here.
You don't get to do that.
And he has been aluminum wrist, but I agree with you. Masters of not Masters, G.I. Joe Snake Eyes. It's an okay first showing. I think they would have been better off if it would have been something streamed. They didn't have to do this big theatrical rollout. They probably would have had a lot more success. And the rival to G.I. Joe in the 80s at that time was He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. And yes, Liz, they have just recently dropped Kevin Smith's resoundingly panned. I mean, this thing is being destroyed online, so much so that I waited to get into Masters of the Universe. I just started watching it today. I'm only 4 episodes in. Does it get better? Oh, it's only 4 episodes?
So it does not get better.
So they're teasing it out. What she's saying is it's a week by week. It's not a binge.
It's not done.
No, it's a part 1. It's a part one. I don't know when part 2's dropping.
I'm getting tired of these episodic.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so this episode that I'm on right now, when it gets to the end, this is the end?
No, it's not over yet.
They did the same thing with She-Ra, where they do a part 1.
Yeah, no, but She-Ra was a full season.
You wait a while. No. They did that for the first season, but the second season they didn't do that, and it was like they dropped some, and then they waited a while, and then they dropped the second half. I have no idea when Masters of the Universe Part 2 is coming back, so you just got to sit and wait. You watch 4 episodes, and then
I have no idea
when the next one comes.
I have no idea when He-Man's coming back, because I thought I was getting some He-Man, and I didn't get all that.
He comes back in the end. What did you not watch it?
Yeah, I saw him get stabbed. I saw him get shanked.
So spoiler for me. So He-Man does come back and he gets shanked.
He got prison shanked.
Yeah,
like some dude in Oz.
2.2.
So that's
okay. He's out in the yard putting up some weights.
Yeah, he was going like this when he got slapped.
But they, guys, they have some big names in this show.
Yeah,
I mean, Mark Hamill alone cackling as Skeletor.
Yeah, but they have huge names in She-Ra too.
Okay. I'm just saying this animation style is closer to the original animation style with some Japanese anime animation style built in. And when you look at this list of names, Susan Eisenberg, who was the best animated Wonder Woman, you've got Kevin Michael Richardson's deep ass voice as Beastman. You've got Batman Kevin Conroy as Merman. My God, what a name. You've got Henry Rollins as Triclops. You've got Mark Hamill giving his best Joker version of Skeletor. You've got Lena Headey, Game of Thrones, as Evelyn Magistra. You got Diedrich Bader, who, I mean, you know, okay, it's Diedrich Bader. Alicia Silverstone, Stephen Root. You've got
it's a stellar cast.
Big. Phil Lamar as Hero.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is Cree Summer, of course, cast. Because it's animated, so why not have her? I mean, this Dennis Haysbert. I mean, this is
that's what I'm saying.
They're making an effort.
I really expected when I saw the cast attached, I expected a stellar, damn near Oscar-worthy animated series. And when I watched it, a lot of times I was like, "Oh, that's cringeworthy." There were so many moments in it that were so just like, come on, that's just bad writing. Just you didn't have to do that. It was a rough watch. It was not as an enjoyable a watch as She-Ra. It really wasn't as like, and maybe I shouldn't have expected. Maybe I should have looked at it as its own thing. Kevin Smith. I like Kevin Smith's work. Some of his comics. He sometimes hit and miss.
Yeah,
but
Paul,
I expected this to be good because of the cast.
Fit together? How do they fit together?
Oh, they don't. No, they don't. They weren't going to. They weren't going to. The Kevin Smith's plan wasn't to connect it to what we saw with She-Ra. He just wanted to tell us a different He-Man story. He said, I want to go deeper into the He-Man mythos and change it.
Yeah, but
I haven't gotten to the end yet, so I don't know.
Yeah, but you're mentioning the same locations. Like it in my head, I'm like, wait, they have to fit.
No, they don't. They don't.
I mean,
She-Ra was not a part. She-Ra came in later.
Yeah, much later. Like She-Ra came in towards the absolute end of the He-Man universe, and by the time She-Ra came around, it was around the era where toy companies start saying, "Hey, let's really play up the female characters in some of these superhero lines that we've got. Let's give something for the girls." Girls are getting tired of Barbie at that time. The easiest transition to action figures at that time was to add more female characters to
existing lines.
G.I. Joe and add She-Ra and try to break her out as someone on her own. And she started as a guest character, on He-Man and say, hey, look, that hit with girls. And that was at a time when toy companies were like, we need to hit big on every opportunity. And so that's why they built off with She-Ra. And you're right, Liz. If they would have connected the two universes, if they would have got maybe the people who did She-Ra to do He-Man, maybe it would have been a more cohesive story. Maybe the story with all that talent, it probably would have been a much better story to start.
Yeah.
It's wow. It's hella meh right now. I was hoping that it was gonna take off. Maybe you're saying if after episode 4,
He-Man. No, I just felt like from watching the show that they were trying to find new ways of getting rid of He-Man. I mean, that's what I felt like. And also, I'm glad it's called Masters of the Universe and not He-Man Masters of the Universe.
Right?
Because we barely get into He-Man.
Because I was like, so you killed a man in the first episode? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
Ryan, you are riding for He-Man like he wears that ugly sweater that you sometimes put on the show.
Rent free, okay?
The dude has no shirt and fuzzy drawers, and you talking about where's my extra He-Man?
Hey, man.
But wait, but if it is Masters of the Universe, you need He-Man in the show.
Exactly.
You do, but also it's a whole with the 74 other characters with name talent that you have listed. I'm fine with
He-Man.
the
It's his show.
But it's not. It's Masters of the Universe.
Not anymore.
No, the trailer had a whole lot of He-Man in it, so
it did have a whole lot of He-Man.
They killed him off like a black dude in a horror film, just like that.
They killed him off like Ray Fisher killed his career.
Like Jada Pinkett.
Rent free.
Like Jada Pinkett in Scream, right? Jada Pinkett in Scream.
Yes, no.
She died in the
Yes.
movie theater. That's how He-Man.
Look, that like when He-Man was, I literally thought, okay, cool, he's gonna be back the next episode, but I was like, okay, so now they're on an adventure, and right now, here's the crazy thing: the adventure that they're on isn't even to find He-Man; it's to save Eternity. I was like, so wait a minute, they're just like, no, He-Man's dead, Adam is dead. the Eternia is all fucked up,
And
and
then
that's just what it is. I thought they were going to be on a mission
then I
to
was like,
find
wait.
him, but they were like, nah, man, nah.
No,
And then I
they
was
Sean
like,
beamed him.
didn't Eternia? Didn't we already try to save it before, or what? Like,
It always
so
needs
this is the
saving.
reason why.
No.
I was
This
like,
this
wait.
isn't from before though. This isn't from
know.
before, Liz. This is
That's why I
brand
don't
new.
like it.
Until Skeletor is gone, Eternia is always going to be at risk. Just like fucking Mum-Ra in his 15 minutes of ultimate power every episode of goddamn Thundercats. It's like
Here's my major gripe. If you're gonna do a show called Masters of the Universe without a lot of He-Man, then do something where Adam becomes He-Man, so you have ways of He-Man not being there because he's not He-Man yet. Something like that. Don't just shank the dude. Oh, he got stabbed good though. He got stabbed.
Now, see, what I'm wondering is from this Masters of the Universe, reboot. Now they're talking about they're bringing back Silverhawks. Silverhawks is next in line for a reboot. Yes, Super 7 is bringing back action figures. Look, who knows? I mean, they're redoing a lot. So it's like, and they do have a new G.I. Joe cartoon. They do have a new G.I. Joe cartoon in the works as well, based on the new G.I. Joe classified action figure series.
So we're gonna have a new song. We're gonna bring it back to the old song too.
Yes, we are.
I mean,
what about the 18?
We'll see.
Why don't we just bring back the 18 then?
They did.
It's coming.
They did.
Bradley
Cooper, T's best friend,
like again,
B.A. Baracus. They're all in it.
Yeah.
Look, they might just bring back 18. But the other film that we mentioned at the top, and only Tom has seen it, is old. M. Night film. I like M. Night. M. Night.
Everybody likes M. Night.
His films are cool with me. I really like the whatchamacallit, the Glass trilogy. That shit, from
that was good.
That was good. That was great.
Okay. Let me start off by saying Sixth Sense is the one that everybody loves.
Yes.
Unbreakable. Oh, did you say except you, Mo?
Except me. Yes.
What?
Okay.
So you're the one.
Because no, if you watch,
I'm gonna give you the full screen for this. Go ahead.
He lied. M. Night lied during his movie. He set up rules for dead people, and Bruce Willis was the only one who did not have to adhere to those rules. Everyone was in the same state in which they died, except for Bruce Willis. Everyone was in the same clothes except for Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis had like 5 different changes of clothes. So of course we didn't think he was dead because he was acting like an alive person. But everyone else who was dead was held to certain rules that Bruce wasn't. That's why I didn't like the movie, because he lied.
Well, okay.
He's a special ghost.
I saw that critique when it came out. This was even before like online was really a thing. But his explanation was, and I'm just going to give him this because I enjoyed the movie. Everything that Bruce wore, because he had the coat, and underneath the coat there was the shirt, and so he could take the coat off and make it look like he had a different look. But it was all the same. It was like layers. So he was able to present his ghost in whatever clothes he had on his murder day. And so I let that one go because the twist was solid, and Haley Joel Osment was pre-BMI of 74, and he was a really it was an engaging film to me. And I also really enjoyed Unbreakable because it leaned way into comic book subculture. And even though the drowning thing wasn't so great for me, still I went with it. I love Sam Jackson, and I loved, again, that twist at the end. They called me Mr. Glass and busting his ass down that whole ass. So that was pretty awesome. Signs.
I like Signs. That's one of my favorites.
Okay, so here's the twist, Mo. You talk about aliens who have a problem with water and invade a planet that's 75% of the surface is covered in water.
Just get the people off the land.
Here?
Yeah, that's the whole point. No, they wanted the land. It doesn't mean that Earth is optimal for them. I mean, we live on land, and we can't really fuck with the water for the most part. So
I guess. Thank God, Joaquin Phoenix was water averse and also a failed minor league hitter, because otherwise we would have been screwed over.
Away.
So
Well,
and
don't
then
forget,
started going.
his daughter in that film was the second coming of Christ as the underplot.
Oh yeah, so there's that.
The holy
And
water.
then you had Lady in the Water.
That was
and
bad.
You had The Happening.
That was bad.
The Village.
You had
Village
The
was
Village,
horrible.
which was
No,
you know
The Village was fucking horrible.
I like The Village.
No,
The
you're
Village
telling me they
divided
were in
people,
New
though.
York and they never saw a plane fly overhead. Fuck
well
that.
antebellum. So there was just a lot that was super problematic with this track
Airbender.
record. Not oh my God, Avatar: The Last
I
Airbender.
like Airbender. Twilight.
Airbender was good.
First off,
Airbender was good.
I'm going to go further back on this one. I'm going to go further back on this one. How do you have a studio put out a movie called Avatar and another studio put a movie out called Avatar: The Last Airbender come out in the same summer? How do you allow that?
Look,
And
that
how is one
studio
make less
stuff
1/20th the money?
Exactly.
I thought that The Last Airbender was good. I thought that it was a great live adaptation of the animated series.
Yeah.
I wanted to see him travel to the other nations and see the story continue. I wasn't mad at it. I was
wanted to
not
see
mad at
that.
it. I'm like, I faithfully watched the animated series and I thought to myself, wow,
Yes.
this is a pretty good live action adaptation. Like they did what they did. I wasn't mad at it at all.
It wasn't Dragon Ball Z live action translation.
Oh God!
But it was not.
Hush your
it
mouth.
was
That
not
Dragon Ball Z
awesome.
was trash.
That's not even Dragon Ball
I
Z.
understand. So I'm not dragging it that far.
Okay.
But it was not a faithful translation of the source material. And the changes that they made were not changes that improved anything. Least of which pronouncing the boy's name Ain't nobody trying to hear oh my gosh. You didn't get to see the same sort of things that made Avatar: The Last Airbender as magical as it was. And it was perhaps a lot to try to cram in that storyline of the water girl and the moon and her getting stabbed, because that was not something you needed to put into the first film as far as I'm concerned. It would have been a lot more successful if they had kept it on the core three and Uncle Jiro, the nice uncle from Fire Nation, and you get the burn face boy. That would have been fine for the first movie if you tried to do that. But when you put in the extra stuff because you wanted to see him go full Avatar and do the big water monster thing at the end, I thought it went too far.
You had to do that. You had to.
Well,
if you were going to try to
cram.
Well, one, you had to have this, but you also had to try to cram in the first story arc into that first movie. So that's why you had to get the first story arc ended with that. So that's why you had to get there.
But you're trying. How many episodes was that? How many episodes was book one?
I mean, come on, like book one is like what? Each one of them are like damn near 30 episodes or something like that. It's like they're super long seasons.
So this is my point. If you had a super beloved franchise with a built-in audience of generations of people who would have taken their kids and kept going if you had done it right. And M. Night, who loves the smell of his own shit, just decided he was going to do whatever he wanted to. And the marketplace said, nah. Yeah. That's what it comes down to. Marketplace said nah.
The marketplace said nah. The marketplace definitely said nah, because that film was a colossal failure.
Wait,
failure.
Did you like The Happening?
No, hell no.
Okay, just want to be sure.
Come on, dude. Mark. Trees are killing us. The trees.
In the grass?
The trees. In the grass? In the trees?
Okay.
Red roses too.
I never saw that happen.
Oh, you didn't miss a damn thing.
M. Night just had a series of good films off the bat that had huge plot twists at the very end. And that's what sold everybody on it.
He has coasted ever since.
Exactly.
And so that brings us because we haven't said a thing about this movie yet.
The only thing that he has done that's terrific.
What?
That's The Sixth Sense. I mean, and he's trying to hit.
Okay.
He's trying to hit that mark.
Unbreakable and Glass. And that last one was great.
I didn't mind Switch. I didn't mind Split. That's what it was. Split. I thought that trilogy was certainly beyond Sixth Sense. Those three actually, as because they introduce a universe, even though there are some challenges to the universe, but they held together. Those films work. Old, on the other hand, does not. It takes a premise that is intriguing and very M. Nighty. No problem with that. No problem with the idea of people go onto a beach and they're getting old. Got it. What's the mystery behind it? There is no real explanation of, other than there's a natural occurrence where time is flipped out by rocks and defeated by coral.
That's the only that's what this film is about.
Spoiler alert.
Are you serious?
Well,
yeah, it's not. So there is what you find out, which is a deviation from the source material. Mm-hmm. The source material is a French graphic novel called Sandcastle, and there is a sandcastle in this movie, but the beach is not really explained in the graphic novel. In this movie, what they explain is that, of course, Big Pharma finds this location, realizes what happens, and then they start setting people up to do pharmaceutical testing on them, because you basically age in the course of 8 hours, you age to 50 years. And so they can test their medications instead of tracking people for years and years and years. They can test their medications over the course of a day and make a determination as to whether or not there's any possibility of it working.
That was the best way they could monetize that island.
Well,
that was their plan.
Well, but guys, it's deadly. Ain't nobody going to this island to have fun, because you fucking die in a day.
No, but I'm just saying, you think you'd have a better way that they could monetize that island somehow.
Well, you don't get confirmation as absolute deliberate confirmation until the last 5 minutes of the film, but they do telegraph it by a mile, because there's a moment in the movie where this black character, who actually doesn't appear to age that much, and they literally have a black don't crack joke.
Black don't crack!
Of course.
He literally tells the other sister on the beach that it's the only time they wish they were black. And he's a rapper who I guess is supposed to be in his 30s. He doesn't appear to age at the same time that the kids who are 6 and 11, they go full on puberty into the one little boy getting the one little girl pregnant, and she delivers a baby that dies in a minute because the baby isn't getting enough attention, because the baby's life is accelerated so fast it can't get enough food or attention to develop. So the baby dies, which is another deviation from the source material, because in the source material, the baby's the last person left on the island, but or the beach. So the other parts of it, it's super problematic. But the guy says, wait, you're sick too? And then it's like, well, I have this, and I have this, and I have this. And I was like, oh, so pharmaceuticals involved. Big Pharma's there somehow. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they set it up. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's machines, but Big Pharma is a part of this. That's what this is going to come down to.
How do this is in the first 20 minutes like that from the rest of the world? It has me scratching my head.
Well, they all died.
Well, there's that, but it's on this island that's like Fiji or Bali or whatever. So it's this it's not an uncharted island, obviously, but it's not like it's LA, where like you walk into the Beverly Center and all of a sudden you get old. It's this remote place. And what they say is that when you go in to get your stuff, they send you a phishing email. Hey, would you like a free vacation? Okay. And you reply, and then they keep sending you stuff, and it's like, you've won a trip to paradise. So come. And you fill out your information, and the first thing they do is serve you a specialty cocktail. And that specialty cocktail is the medicine they want to test you on. And to keep it so that it doesn't look like, geez, everybody who responds to this fucking email disappears off the face of the earth. They also have regular people who just come and just enjoy the resort, and they aren't taken to the beach. But the ones they want to test are all taken to the beach, and over the course of a day, they die, and then they get the results. But of course, they can't gather tissue samples, because anybody who goes onto the beach starts aging and can't ever come off the beach. So everything is just observational, which is not.
I mean, are they observing within with drones? I mean, how are they observing?
Well, they have the perimeter, the height of the cliff face The rocks apparently is what is creating this time difference thing. So at the top of the cliff, there aren't rocks. It's a plateau. And so they can keep equipment up there and look down and watch what's going on. But again, you're a pharmaceutical company. You can't take any tissue samples. How can you measure the efficacy of the drugs you're proposing?
Okay, I can't understand this. You have source material you can go to, and you don't use it. Even the idiots who did Game of Thrones copied the source material.
Start it.
You know, and they started it until, you know, they ran out of source material, and then the show took a nosedive off a fucking cliff. But why not just follow the source material? It makes no sense to me.
Well, but it's not like this source material wasn't like a barn burner success. It's not like Sandcastle was just like this in-demand film that everybody was waiting to happen. And the source material is very esoteric. It's not about this story as much as it is an allegory and an examination of time and relationships and family and these other sort of things that are much softer than, you know, there aren't these horror elements in it. M. Night gets involved, and you've got to add these grotesque deaths, and you've got to add these other things to keep people engaged, because now it's a legit horror film as opposed to being this allegory that is a contemplation of mortality.
Hey, Tom, is it like where they take a Philip K. Dick story and they don't have enough to work with, and so they just try to fill it? Okay.
The only Philip K. Dick translation that I think actually works cinematically was Blade Runner, because again, the central conceit of that story was a good launching off point, and they did some amazing things with that conceit, which was artificial humans can't have a whole life, and so what is it that they have to deal with? They abandoned a lot of the stuff, you know, the treadmills and the stuff walking and all that sort of stuff, and the fake imitation things, although they made references to that with the fake snakes and everything else. But Blade Runner did a good job at that. Minority Report, perhaps less so.
I like Minority Report.
I'll tell you this. There is a scene in Minority Report where the girl is telling him about his son's future life that he will never get to see, that gives me onions every damn time.
Yes.
He's 17 and he's racing toward a girl. He's in a beach making love for the very first time. He's accepted into the
That's the best scene in the movie. But the movie's so bad.
But there's, again, very little to do with the source material. You took the one thing and you just blew it up into this thing. But Philip K. Dick is kind of a genius, a bit of a racist, but you know, he had some really cool sci-fi ideas. And Ray Bradbury Theater actually was actually very close to a lot of Ray Bradbury short stories. But you can do that because A, it's a short story, so you only have to have 30 minutes. You don't have to have 2 hours. Mm-hmm. And so if you have a short story and the short story is tight, then you can turn that into a 30-minute script. But if you like a core idea and you want to make it into 2 hours, there's stuff you have to do. And if you're not as talented as the writer, probably it's not going to work so well. I don't know that Sandcastle would have been a better movie than Old if it had been brought to screen. I mean, a lot of French movies don't translate over here. So, but M. Night gave a big shot. And you know what, dude? You're not Hitchcock. We don't need to see your ass in every goddamn movie.
He's a great treatment writer, it seems. Great ideas. Maybe someone else needs to be the screenwriter and flesh it out and director.
Like Tyler Perry.
Say it again.
Did you say Tyler Perry?
I'm just saying.
Did you say Tyler Perry?
That's
Tyler Perry into this conversation.
Yes. You were asking for somebody to come in and help write?
Medea's gonna be kidding.
Wait a minute. Are you asking Tyler Perry to come in and write something?
No, I'm saying we need, just like Tyler Perry needs a writer.
You scared me for a second, Liz. You scared me for a second.
Listen,
I love Brother Perry, but damn.
If he had put Medea on that beach, that would have been the one thing I would have cheered. That death of Medea. Medea styrofoam titties shriveling up. That I could have dealt with that.
But Medea's fighting the beast.
Yeah, this was
right, so Old was a colossal failure, and Snake Eyes was all right. Is what we're saying, that this is overall a bad week for films, but what are your predictions? Anyone for Jungle Cruise, which so far the reviews are saying this is the film that should have been the lead for the summer. They're saying that The Rock actually brings in. This is all reviewers that have come back that have seen it so far. The reviews are so good, I'm actually excited about it. What are your thoughts so far?
I'm so mad that they're making the movie.
I'm more excited about Suicide Squad coming out
next week, I think.
Yeah, it's next week.
Suicide Squad is next week. Okay.
Right. I think this is what I think. I think that The Rock is actually, because he's one of the rare action stars that actually is charismatic and engaging in comedic roles. He's, Schwarzenegger limited, Statham limited, Van Damme limited. All
I like Van Damme.
Perhaps Stallone. And Schwarzenegger did try a couple of comedic things, but you can't get around his accent and his inability to actually say lines.
It's not a tumor.
Yeah. It is not a tumor. But Dwayne Johnson can do it. He can be funny. He's obviously he's got the action body, and he can speak English words, which is great. And so I don't mind. I don't mind this. Now, like Liz, the idea, this is Disney going through all of its features, all of its amusement park rides, and trying to build something. And that's fine. They have changed the Jungle Cruise ride. They have taken out a lot of the stuff. They've listened to consumers, they've listened to patrons, and they've eliminated a lot of the stuff that existed, for way too long. We're in 2021, they're just getting rid of it. Got it. But that doesn't mean this is going to be a bad movie. And A Quiet Place 2 being completely unnecessary aside, I like Emily Blunt. I really liked her in Devil Wears Prada, and I liked her in A Quiet Place 1. Get some shoes on, girl. There's A Quiet Place 3. Please put shoes on.
What about
Live, Die, Repeat?
Edge of Tomorrow.
No, she was great. She was great. And that really did need to be called Live, Die, and Repeat. But
I think The Rock does good movies.
I think it'll be fine. He does.
The Rock hasn't done anything to me that was his movies are always watchable. They may not be some of them aren't stellar.
That's true.
But they're watchable. Doom, I don't know if I ever saw Doom. I never saw Doom.
So what was
but I don't think he's not going for
Skyscraper was that could have been Skyfall.
Look, Skyscraper.
I'm not going to say.
But Skyscraper wasn't made for a DVD film. There are a lot of actors who on their way to action superstar status. They're gonna have a lot of bumps. There's a lot of films that Stallone made before he became a bona fide action star.
And a lot of films he made after he was way past his prime. Oh yeah. I'll say this. Dwayne Johnson has not had as many bombs as Will Smith. And Will Smith was the action dude of his decade. And Dwayne Johnson has not failed as many times as Will Smith has. Now, he hasn't swung for the fences like an Ali and Concussion and some of his other films. Right. And Dwayne isn't, but he hasn't ever won the Oscar either.
He's been nominated, and I don't think Dwayne is ever going to get nominated.
I don't think he will. And you know who's fine with that?
Dwayne
Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson's wallet.
When he starts trying to make money and does a passion project in which he gets to inhabit the role of someone. I don't know what that is. I don't know who that will be.
Yeah.
But it'll probably be a biopic in which he inhabits someone's role. And, it could be Captain Lou Albano.
I was going to say, it'll probably be the role of his father.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Right.
All I can tell you is that Will Smith is looking at Jamie Foxx's 2 Oscars like, ain't this about a bitch?
Well, he
was in a wig on an In Living Color, and he's got 2 damn Oscars.
His new trailer just dropped today.
Who? Will Smith?
Yeah, his King Richard.
Oh, yeah.
King Richard.
For
King
Richard.
the Serena.
The twin, the Williams sister film,
right?
Which actually has what's the little girl's name in that mode? We had her on the show.
Sophia.
I can't remember her last name. I felt so bad about that. Yeah, but
Well,
look, she's in it.
This is his fourth, at least his fourth biopic then, because he did Ali, he did The Concussion Guy, he did In Pursuit of Happiness, and now he's doing the Richard Williams story. So maybe Richard Williams will do it for him. I think he's great. I thought he was great in 6 Degrees of Separation, which is one of his very earliest roles. So
Sanaa Sidney. Yes, thank you.
But
look, I'm not mad.
I think that
I'm not mad
the
at The
Tyson
Rock,
movie,
though.
when that drops, it's going to be better still.
Ooh, yeah, Jamie Foxx is a beast in Tyson. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. No, look,
Jamie Foxx is going to do
I think that he is going to do it.
Justice.
Yeah, Jamie Foxx. And Jamie Foxx was great in Just Mercy. Let's be clear. Jamie Foxx is he has actually been less successful trying to be an action star than being a legitimate actor, which is kind of a reversal, except for Denzel.
Can I say something that's going to be blasphemy to some people, but I mean it with every word, and I thought about this.
Oh, Jesus.
Jamie Foxx, in the totality of his career, is probably one of the most talented entertainers ever. If you think from comedy to singing,
absolutely,
to acting.
Oh, okay. Absolutely. I see what you're saying.
Totality of this talent. He could have been a very successful singer. He was a marginal mediocre because he didn't really focus on it. But
he was also a good writer.
That's true.
He wrote a lot of the songs.
Yes.
That T-shirt and panties.
That second album
that Adina Howard did. I heard Jamie Foxx demo that song because Montel and a group that we were producing at the time went in to work with Jamie Foxx, and Jamie Foxx played that for me. I thought it was an awesome song, and then he gave it to Adina Howard, and I was like, man, how you going? So he is. I don't think that's so outlandish, Mo. I give you credit for bringing that to people's attention.
I can't give you any shit for that one. That's when you think about when you think about every comedian that's tried to sing and has tried to do action films after comedy, he's the only one who has had
party all the time.
Why you turn party all the time?
Didn't Rick James and what's his name produce that one?
Yeah, Eddie Murphy.
No, what's his name?
Rick James.
Well, James and Eddie Murphy did Party All the Time.
I thought, what's his name? That girl's dad was part of it, producing it too. What's her name? What's his name?
Quincy Jones.
That girl's dad.
Yeah, that girl's dad.
Can I get up by a vowel?
She was on that TV show with Paris Hilton, Lionel Richie.
Oh,
Lionel Richie did that.
I don't think Lionel Richie. I don't think Lionel Richie. I hope he did.
How low when he goes?
Yeah. And I don't like that one.
Lionel Richie as having.
Anyway, that third Jamie Foxx album is something I will bump now.
Cool.
So definitely, I agree with. I don't think that's controversial to say.
Okay.
No, he's a very talented man. He's written and produced by Rick James. Ain't no Lionel Richie slander. Get Lionel Richie slander off Party All the Time. Hell to the no.
I knew Rick James was in it. I thought Lionel was too. Guess not.
Nah.
Yeah, and Boogie in Your Butt. Jesus, can we move on? This is gonna make me sad.
Well, don't forget Sexual Chocolate.
Oh no, that Eddie Murphy I could get behind.
Yeah,
Randy
look,
Johnson?
that Eddie Murphy. Yeah, do that.
Randy Johnson?
Do that.
That boy good.
That was real good.
Donations.
Well, I say
Slide.
there you have it.
I'm gonna call him Clay.
You all have heard it here first. Old is trash. Do not waste a single dime on that. Not
Amazon.
even a free viewing. I don't even know if I'm gonna do it there. Once thinking about Thomas's review, I don't need to see it. There's some times where I can just save that bit of my life. I can dedicate that portion of my life to something else. I don't need to dedicate it to purposely watching a film that was so resoundingly trash. I'm not then going to go back and torture myself and say, but you know what? I want to see it for myself. I trust Tom. I'm going to take it.
We should do an end of the year worst movies. Because we do end of the year best. We should do like end of the year worst things that we watched.
Then start writing them down. We'll get to it.
Right?
G.I. Joe is passable. I'd say that's one you can wait till it comes on. You'll be a lot happier with yourself if you watch it at home versus spending the dollars that I spent taking my family to go see. Even though, like you, Tom, it was us, like me and my kids, and like two other people in the theater. Yeah. And I was like, okay, so this is just our private on screen.
For me, and I went on Sunday.
Oh, okay. Look, the box office is saying that it's more theaters like what we had. So now, okay, next week, I'm thinking because Suicide Squad comes out on Friday, we should maybe convene on Friday.
I ain't got no problems.
All right. Fine. Sound good.
All right.
Subject to change without notice.
Yes.
True that.
Oh, that's right.
I'm feeling for you, brother.
Tomorrow morning.
I'm feeling for you.
Mo's on 80 hours this week.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
No exaggeration. I still got more to do.
And that subject to change. There it is. Liz, I'm gonna save you. I'm gonna save you best for last, so you can. Oh shit!
Oh wow!
Ready to go.
That's an M. Night Shyamalan twist.
Yeah. Oh damn it! Like for real, didn't see that coming. Didn't see that coming at all. Well, Anthony, then set it off, good sir.
Good news, everybody.
Mo.
He helped Joshua in the battle of Jericho. Yes, he had Daniel get out the lion's den. He had Gilligan get off the island. Lord.
McBain.
Sweet Christmas.
Cunningham.
There is my ninja suit.
And Dr. Liz from the freeway.
Be a goldfish.
Okay, I don't know if there was more than be a goldfish because it seems like your mic went off.
No, that's a Ted Lasso reference. And be a goldfish is good advice for anybody who watched Old.
Oh, damn.
Forget about it. Forget about it.
10-second memory span.
Excelsior.
Bye.
You got